One day, Nelson and Socks were very cross because Carly had said there were going to be no more mints for any of the horses for all the winter and all the spring and all the summer. You horses are too fat, she said, meanly. And Nelson and Socks didn't like that at all. They didn't like Carly being mean, and they certainly didn't like no mints. I don't like no mints, Socks, said Nelson. I don't like no mints, Nelson, said Socks. Let's do something about it, said Nelson. What, said Socks? I'll show you later, said Nelson. And that night, after Carly had gone to bed, Nelson wiggled open the door of his stall. And then he went over to Socks' stall, and he wiggled open the door of Socks' stall. And they set off as quiet as they could across the courtyard, which wasn't very quietly, and Carly was lying in bed with Nao, and she could hear. And she said, "What's that noise?" And Nao said, "Only the rain." And Carly said, "Are you sure?" And she started to get out of bed. And Nelson and Socks were going across the courtyard in the dark so they wouldn't be seen. And then Socks saw a mint on the ground. He said, "Oh, Nelson, I really fancy a mint. Come on, Nelson, let's have it." And Nelson said, "No, Socks, no, it's a trap." And Socks went, "Oh, but it's a mint too, Nelson. Come on, I really want that mint." And he bent down and he bit the mint, and it was a trap. And lights went off everywhere. And sirens went off, Nina, Nina, and the bells started ringing, and Carly threw open the curtains of her window, and she looked out, and there were Nelson and Socks, and Socks and Nelson looked up at Carly, and Nelson said, "Gallop, Socks, gallop!" And they took off, and they got glum, 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 and behind them they could hear the sirens of the police cars. Nina, Nina, Nina. And they galloped and galloped and galloped and galloped down the road. And they galloped and galloped and galloped and galloped. And they galloped and galloped. And eventually they came to CBS. And Nelson said, "Let's hide in here." And Sock said, "Are you crazy?" And Nelson said, "Where else can we hide?" And Sock said, "Well, I suppose so." And they went in through the door. And Sock said, "Where can we hide here?" Nelson went, "I know. We can hide in the diaper aisle, behind the boxes of diapers." And Sock said, "Are you crazy, Nelson? Our heads will stick up. They won't see us. They'll see us. Our heads will stick up." And Nelson said, "Socks, I've thought of that. We're going to put our heads down." And Socks said, "Oh, Nelson, you're a genius." And they went into the diaper and they pulled all the boxes off the shelves with their teeth. And then Nelson got on one shelf and he pulled all the boxes back in and he put his head down. And then Socks got on another shelf and he pulled all the boxes in and he put his head down. And they lay there as still as they could. And then they could hear the doors opening. And they could hear Carly and two policemen coming into CBS. Okay, "Where are those horses?" And they said to the guy behind the desk, no, they said to the girl behind the desk, whose name was Eva Mai, "Did you see any fugitive horses come running in here?" And Eva Mai said, "No, I didn't." And Carly said, "Are you sure?" And Eva Mai said, "Yeah, yeah." And Carly said, "Do you mind if I just look?" And Eva Mai said, "I suppose you can look." And Carly and the police looked around. And one of the policemen said, "I bet the horses are in the toilet paper aisle because horses love toilet paper." And Carl said, "No." And the other policeman said, "I bet the horses are in the crayons aisle because horses love crayons." And Carl said, "No." And then Carl said, "You know what? I bet the horses are in the diaper aisle, hiding behind the boxes." And one of the policemen went, "Yeah, because horses love diapers." And the other policeman went, "That's a stupid idea." And Carl said, "Fine, I'm going to go and look myself. Will you come and help me move the boxes?" And the policeman said, no, we're not box movers. We're policemen. And Cara said, well, I'll try and do it myself. And she went off to the diaper and she grabbed hold of one of the boxes and she pulled. And there was the box Nelson was behind. So he grabbed on with his teeth and he pulled the other way. And Cara pulled. And Nelson went. And the box didn't move. And Cara went, well, if the boxes are stuck, there's no way the horses could be behind them. And she was ready to go. And Sock said, oh, thank goodness, Nelson, that was a narrow escape. And Nelson said, shh, but it was too late. Cara turned around and she said, what was that noise? And the policeman said, yes, what was that noise? And Cara said, here, help me pull on this box. And the policeman said, yes, we will help you pull on that box. We are box pullers. And they all pulled together. And Nelson pulled back as hard as he could, but it wasn't hard enough. And the box came out. And there was Nelson behind it. And Nelson said, hi. And the police said, you're going to prison. And just at that moment, the doors opened, and in came Dala. And Dala hit Carly, and she hit the policeman, and she hit Carly, and she hit the policeman. And even I said, stop hitting, stop hitting. And Dala said, no. And she hit Carly, and she hit the policeman, and she hit Carly. And in all the hitting, Nelson and Socks snuck out of CVS, and they got a couple of bags of mints, and they held them in their mouths, and they snuck home as quickly as they could, and they got into the barn. A few minutes later, Carly came back to the barn, looking like she'd been hit. And she said, Nelson, Socks, you're in your stalls. What was all that? And Nelson said, it was probably just a dream. And Socks said, yeah, it was probably just a dream. And Carl said, all right, and she went to bed. And so I think we actually did get away with it that time, Nelson. And Nelson said, I think we did. Mince anyone? The end.